Lost Gravity at Walibi Holland is the prototype Mack Big Dipper coaster. This ride was Mack's answer to the Gerstlauer Eurofighter. Lost Gravity feels like the cross of a Eurofighter and Intamin's Sky Rush. It has both the good and bad elements of those rides. Let me explain this review. Gerstlauer debuted the Eurofighter in 2003 at Wildsfina at Bonbonland. This model became a popular option for smaller parks. These parks loved how marketable and thrilling the attraction was, given its cost and compactness. Other manufacturers such as Mauer and Zier started to offer rides with similar characteristics. Mack joined the party with the Big Dipper model. Compagnie des Alpes acquired Walibi Holland in 2006, yet they wouldn't add a new coaster to this park for a decade. But they made an impressive and daring addition with the first Big Dipper in 2016. Named Lost Gravity, the coaster looks striking. For one, the elements speak for themselves. You have a demonically twisted drop and two flashy inversions. 2. You have a unique paint scheme. The ride has an alternating yellow and black paint scheme. The pattern reminds me of a venomous snake. 3rd, the theming. This is where Lost Gravity really shines, especially for a thrill coaster. The ride is themed to Earth's gravity going haywire. This is a neat theme that lends itself to creativity. The area feels like a secret military base with the giant watchtowers and all the wrecked vehicles. And the coaster's elements interact with these too. There are timed fire blasts, and more impressively, there's a water jet that shoots upwards towards the train going through the zero-G roll. It is one of the coolest effects of any coaster. Then the queue line has plenty of optical effects too. The main queue passes through these giant crates, all of which don't seem quite right. But the highlights are this vibrating staircase and a giant room of mirrors. Even those with Fast Lane get their own unique entrance. Those guests pass through a school bus. I can't say I've ever done that on any other ride. And you can hear the ride's custom soundtrack all throughout the area. It is a catchy beat from famous Dutch artist Mr. Polska. It's a good thing the queue is as entertaining as it is, because you may encounter a sizable wait for this coaster. While the small trains are beneficial for maneuverability, they are a detriment to capacity. Each one seats just 8 riders. The ride is 4 cars, but I believe they run 3 at a time. The crew dispatches them super quickly, especially because there are separate load and unload platforms, but they can only do so much with trains that seat this few people. The standby queue can have a 45 to 60 minute wait many days. Thankfully, there are 2 ways to beat the queue. The paid way is the fast lane skip the line pass. The free way is the single rider line. As long as you don't mind splitting up your party, this single rider line has been a total walk-on for me in my visits. It is the most efficient way to experience this coaster. At the end of the line, the employees admit exactly 8 people into the station. Bags and loose articles go in these clever 2-sided lockers. Each train has its own cubby. It opens and closes as trains arrive and depart. The system keeps your belongings safe and minimizes clutter on the load platform. Seating is first come, first served. So if you don't have any loose articles, you have a bit of an advantage to picking your row. You have 2 rows of 4. I don't think front versus back matters too much in this ride. The back is slightly better for 2 elements. What matters more is if you're on a wing seat. The trains are set up like sky rushes. Each row has 2 seats in the center over the track and floor. Then you have 2 wings on the edges. These seats leave you more exposed, and they accentuate the laterals. I especially recommend sitting on the left side if possible. The drop is absolutely fantastic on that side. The restraints are thankfully more comfortable than those on Sky Rush. You have a snug but comfortable overhead lap bar. It leaves your entire upper body free to experience the airtime, hang time, and laterals. Once dispatched, you turn out of the station. You then ascend a 105-foot or 32-meter tall lift hill in a flash. This has to be one of the fastest chain lifts out there. Lost Gravity wastes no time getting to the top. And you are thrown over that first drop. It's super steep and it rapidly twists you 180 degrees. Everyone gets good ejector airtime. If you're on the left, the airtime is paired with crazy laterals. It feels completely out of control on that side. On the right side, it feels more like the floor drops out. Still thrilling, but your body isn't completely tossed about like a rag doll. This is followed by a small speed hill. It's over in an instant, but has a powerful burst of ejector airtime. It hits harder than the speed hills and RMCs. Next is a top hat, which is weird to have this late in the ride. Everyone gets some laterals from the banking. Then everyone gets floater airtime as well, but it is more sustained in the back row because you levitate out your seat going up and down. This is followed by a large camelback. The apex is super sharp, so it delivers sweet airtime. The front row gets floater, but those in back get ejector airtime in the descent. It is surprising the airtime can vary that much with just a 2-row train, but it does here. You then rise upwards into a turnaround. It gives everyone a great pop of airtime. You then have a weirdly unbanked turn. You don't usually see this on a steel coaster, but you don't have too much speed, so you only get a pinch of laterals. You then hit a mid-course brake run that fortunately is trimmed. Wait, a brake run that's good? In this case, yes. It makes the next element even better, a dive drop. You crawl through the twist, so you get fantastic hang time. It is way better than the hang time you get on B&M wing coasters on those dive drops, especially because you have just lap bars here. After being pulled towards the ground, you shoot up into a turnaround. This gives everyone a solid burst of airtime. The train then twists 180 degrees towards the ground. And this valley has some deceptively strong positive Gs that'll glue you to your seat. You then navigate the 0G roll. You get another strong dose of hang time here. And remember that geyser? It messes with your head to see water shoot towards you while you're inverted. You lose all sense of direction. Next is another turnaround. It is milder this time though. No airtime into this one, but the swooping descent does reapply the positive Gs. This immediately leads into an S-hill. It's not taken super quickly, but it still gives some floater airtime for all. The bunny hill that follows is considerably better. It delivers a good ejector pop. You then twist 180 degrees into the brake run, ending the 2,230 foot or 680 meter long coaster. For a ride with that little track length, it packs in a lot of elements. The ride feels far longer than that. While it is clear I love this coaster's elements, there is an issue with the ride. The smoothness, or lack thereof. I have heard this coaster was smooth in its opening year, but it's now a very shaky experience. The train will rattle in most valleys. There are some elements that don't seem to track quite right here. The one that comes to mind is the 0G roll that feels jittery. Honestly, this ride's tracking reminds me of the Zamperla Thunderbolt coaster I've ridden in many places. Lost Gravity has a similar shuffle, not enough to completely ruin the ride, but it is enough to cause a headache after a few rides. And it does not seem to make much of a difference whether you're on the inside or outside. That matters in some rides with wing seats, but not this one. Remember, this was a prototype. I say that because their second Big Dipper in Dynamite at Frieside Park Plon is very smooth, so maybe Mack figured something out. I hope so for the new one coming to Europa Park next year. So what would I rate Lost Gravity? I would give this coaster an 8.5 out of 10. The layout is excellent. It has a brilliant mix of airtime, hang time, and laterals. It's a dynamic experience that keeps finding new ways to lift you out of your seat. And that's paired with some really nice theming for a ride of this caliber. The one flaw is the rattle. I still enjoy this coaster a lot, but it does take a toll on me, and not in a good way. If this ride were glossy smooth, it would probably be the park's second best coaster, and a better experience than quite a few hypercoasters, which is certainly impressive for a ride of this scale. So those are my thoughts on Lost Gravity at Walibi Holland. What are your thoughts on the original Big Dipper coaster? Are you excited for the future of this model? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.